Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
All right. Why don't we go ahead and start? It's already 12 minutes after 2 in my clock. First, I just want to recognize the Vice Speaker. I understand she is the designee for the Speaker. And also want to thank her for her law that creates this Transshipment Task Force. And it's something that has always been part of our platform also. And it's something that I know Rory Respicio is also working on in relation to the Port Authority and its connection to the whole transshipment industry. As you are also aware that my economic diversification group has been recommending some multi-diversified industries throughout the island. And of course, transshipment industry is something that we look forward to. And with the establishment of this task force, I think we could develop into something maybe that could be a successful way of trying to help move shipment and goods across Asia Pacific onto the United States. So I'd just like to thank the Vice Speaker for her legislation and want to welcome all of you. I have asked the Economic Development Committee, the Guam Economic Development, and I don't know if Mel is on here. I do know that
Joanne's gonna represent Mel, Governor.
Okay, and I know Ed Camacho is here too. Ed? Right.
I'm here, Governor.
Yes, thanks, Ed. So why don't we go ahead? I guess the agenda that was placed here is to have some remarks from GEDA. So Joanne, do you want to make some remarks here?
Okay, yes, Governor. So this inaugural meeting of Transportation Task Force hereby calls to order. For the record, today is Thursday, June 24th, and the time is 2:08. Invitations were sent out to all task force members, and I thank you all for your attendance today. I'll begin with doing a roll call. Guam Economic Development Authority, represented by myself. Port Authority of Guam. Rory. Guam International Airport, Fred Topaz.
He's online. Is he online though? I don't know if he's there.
He's here. Customs and Quarantine Officer John Rick Mendiola.
Yeah. Oh, here, right here.
Department of Land Management Director Joe Borja.
Present.
Governor Lourdes A. Guerrero, and also being represented by Ed Camacho.
Here.
Vice Speaker Tina Muña Barnes.
Not yet.
Guam Contractors Association, Camilo Lorenzo. Bureau of Statistics and Plans, Director Tyrone Taitano. University of Guam, Dr. James G. Jr. Department of Agriculture, Deputy Director Adrian Cruz. Guam Chamber of Commerce, Catherine Castro.
Present.
Guam Women's Chamber, Bernie Valencia. Chinese Chamber of Commerce, Albert Wu.
Yes.
Filipino Community Guam, former Senator Dennis Rodriguez.
Present.
Korean Chamber of Commerce, Charlie Hermosa.
Present.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, I'm Joanne Camacho, Deputy Administrator, and this is Ed Camacho. I will preside over today's meeting. Moving forward, the presiding officer of the task force, as elected by the membership later on of today's meeting, shall preside over all subsequent meetings upon his or her election. The Transportation Task Force was created via Public Law 3623 with the goal of making recommendations to the Governor of Guam and the Guam legislature regarding the potential development of a transshipment industry in Guam. We look forward to working with all of you to fulfill the task force mandate. Governor, you've given your opening remarks. Would you like to say anything else?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Thank you, Governor. I would like to also acknowledge and welcome Honorable Tina Rosa Muña Barnes, Vice Speaker of the 36th Guam Legislature and the sponsor of Public Law 3623, to make some opening remarks.
Joanne and Magahaga, Undakuna Smasi, thank you. Hapaday, buenas and hapaday, everyone. Undakuna Smasi for all of you guys being here today. I want to say that before the pandemic, our economy was thriving, driven by three main sectors: tourism, government spending, and defense spending. However, now our economy is at a standstill, in part because of the necessary measures we had to take in order to contain the spread of COVID-19. COVID-19 has impacted the economies and the supply chains throughout the world, especially in Asia and the Pacific. And while federal assistance has kept our island afloat, we cannot continue to rely on federal assistance to sustain Guam's economy. We need a long-term solution to potentially long-term problems. We need a permanent form of revenue stream, and I believe that transshipment is the answer. My colleagues and I did introduce Bill 2-36 to address our island supply chain vulnerabilities beyond COVID-19. And with tourism at a standstill, we can rebuild our economy by capitalizing on industries that have yet to be tapped into. So Bill 2-36, which was signed by Public Law 36-23, I want to again say for this being part of your vision and your platform with the Segundo Magalahi. And it truly is going to be an industry that will literally bring jobs here to our island. And with that, we can diversify the economy and assist Guam's post-COVID recovery by increasing the production and sale of Guam's goods. And like I said earlier, creating thousands of jobs from assemblers, exporters, security personnel, truck drivers, just to name a few, and the list goes on, and stimulating the financial industry. The maritime transportation system is the economic lifeline of the global economy, and the Transshipment Taskforce can play an active role in reactivating this system. Our island is unique because we can receive more shipments in comparison to other ports in the Pacific. The commercial port has convenient access to the Antonio B. Wampat International Airport, allowing major airlines to fly to cities in the mainland from Guam. And the Port Authority of Guam has the ability to move containerized, break bulk, and fresh fish cargo. Not only does Guam have an easy access to manufacturing hubs in the Asian Pacific supply chain, but also our strategic location allows the United States to secure the defense of the nation and protect its allies. We must do what we can to rebuild our economy. We need the cooperation of both the government and the private stakeholders. And I just want to say thank you again to the stakeholders for being here also. And that is why all of you guys are in this room, to efficiently sell and gain access to consumers in the Asian market. The Transshipment Task Force is a great opportunity for our island. And I know that if we all work together, we can truly make this work successfully. And I would be remiss, Madam Governor and Madam Chair, if I don't at least take the time to thank a team that helped put this together with your vision, Governor. And I want to thank them. I want to thank my Director of Policy and Communications, Mr. Sharak Bawani. I want to thank our Chief of Staff also, Rory from Emory University, a part of the Public Policy Institute, Sissy Lewell, Patrick Wang, who's with the St. Mary's College of California, and of course, steering the Public Policy Institute that you also signed governor into law is Dr. James G. Jr., who is an assistant professor at the University of Guam, but also is a PPI advisor. I want to say to the community stakeholders who took a big part in helping the interns our advisor, and of course, our team at the legislature. We have a blueprint or a floor plan, just giving history, giving available grants and opportunities that are out there, but more importantly, just like a preview of what is already there, what we can look into and tap into. And I understand that with everybody here at the table, GEDA has also put together some other things that we can talk about later on in the agenda. But Madam Governor, it is with great humility and respect that I take the time to sincerely and personally thank you for seeing that vision and making this happen for us today. Because with this new industry, we can bring more of our people home, and seeing the research done by our students who are here, and who some worked online when they were still going to college, but more importantly, that internship that is also with the legislature, with the PPI. A lot of the pre-work was worked on, and it is through your vision that we can see this come to a full fruition. So thank you. And I'm ready to roll up my sleeve and continue to move this work forward so Guam can be successful in this new industry. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Speaker. Keeping in line with the agenda today is under new business. We'll move into it. So the first order on the agenda is to overview the Transshipment Taskforce Act responsibilities and duties and the formation of subcommittees. Public Law 3623 was signed into law on May 12, 2021. It has established a 16-member task force made up of representatives from the organizations in attendance today. The task force is mandated to meet at least once a month and has the responsibility to undertake the following: contact all relevant local, national, and potentially international stakeholders pertinent to transshipment. Receive reports and testimonies regarding transshipment in Guam. Research local tax policies, workforce development, incentive programs, and all other relevant topics pertaining to transshipment for the feasibility study. Prepare and submit a final economic diversification plan to the Governor of Guam and the Guam legislature no later than 1 year from the law's enactment. In order to more efficiently meet task force mandates, it is prudent to establish subcommittees to handle specific aspects of transshipment industry development in Guam. Some ideas here are
Everybody should have one on there.
recommended,
Everybody should have a list of suggested subcommittees.
federal and local regulations, which include the Jones Act, tracking and labeling, Made in America, and HETNO 3A. Second recommendation be tax policy, local and federal tax, and tariffs. Third would be workforce development, current capacity, existing training and certification, and minimum wage. The fourth will be incentive programs, qualifying certificates, EB-5, and tax credits. The fifth will be infrastructure, land, utilities, communication, facilities, and zoning. The sixth recommendation will be financial, venture capital, and loans. And then the last one will be current state of the industry. Having said that, do you have any ideas or like other recommendations for discussion?
And keep in mind, this is just a draft. They can be moved around, shifted around. We just try to position each one in the correct silo for each one. But there could be more added to these this task subcommittee task level. We just wanted to open it up for discussion to see, are there any suggestions? Yes, sir.
Yes, Mr. Borja.
I suggest that land management chair the infrastructure committee and are to invite bureau statistics and plans and at least 2 or 3 members from the private sector to be members of that subcommittee.
Okay.
Hold on.
Very good.
We're volunteering. Yes.
Okay.
And our planning division, not just me.
I like you being very aggressive, Mr. Borja, and you can take charge of that.
Second.
Any other volunteers for some of the committee or comments? Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Hermosa.
Can we create possibly a subcommittee that would be more of an outreach to get investors to potentially look at what we're doing here. So potential areas that we could bring to Guam as investing.
Okay.
So like an outreach program where we can go and talk to different companies that would want to investment maybe.
So financial/investment,
Yeah.
maybe under the financial, we add on investments on top of that?
Right, yeah, okay. And are you recommending, do you want to chair that?
I would like to volunteer and chair for the federal and local regulations.
I also like to be a part of that if there's a possibility for co-chairing or co-sponsorship.
Customs would like to be part of that committee as well.
Airport would like to be part of the committee as well.
Oh, very nice.
Excellent.
All in chamber? Okay. Anybody from GOG? That might be the entire committee. Tax policy?
Well, do we need to determine who's going to chair this committee? I got everybody involved. Who is going to be that chair of that?
Well, let's wait until we get down to.
Okay.
Okay. Workforce development.
Or tax policy first.
Oh, tax policy.
Anybody want to tackle that? Anybody? Sorry.
Ida?
Yeah, okay. Workforce development.
Any contractors?
Wrong contract. Anybody else? See? Incentive programs, I guess that's GEDA. Yes, sir.
Workforce development, I recommend that somehow we try and get GCC in here.
EDC, okay. Good recommendation, Mr. Borja. Financial and investment. Okay, and along with GEDA, because we're doing the venture capital.
Chair,
Yes, sir.
for that workforce development also maybe take it to Department of Labor.
Okay.
Can I suggest for the workforce development, because, you know, GCC, I mean, I love GCC, but it's mandated by law. The membership here is mandated by law, and GCC is not a mandate.
Member.
So what I was thinking is either Guam Chamber of Commerce can do that, or give it over to the University of Guam, since they are a higher institute of learning and they develop, you know, trained and degree people. So I'm suggesting maybe give it over to UOG to head that. And if they want to invite GCC as part of their subcommittee member, that I think pretty appropriate. But because it is not mandated by law that GCC be a member here, we might, you know, we might run down in the future some kind of protest or something like that. You just never know what's going to happen out there.
Good point, Governor, but okay, UOG volunteered. UOG did volunteer, so they're in the committee.
Madam Chair,
All
I
right.
yield to the governor on that.
Of course, yes, good point.
The incentives program, since going back to some, can I work with that also? With the qualifying certificates and the EB-5 and tax credits?
Okay.
The Chinese Chamber, the incentive program.
Incentive program, Chinese Chamber?
Yeah.
In terms of chair and non-chair, we as chambers, all of us are non-voting and official members, so.
Yeah, can we be more clear about that?
We're just here to provide, you know, guidance or input.
Yeah.
on us.
Yeah, that was one of the questions I was asked. Is since we're a non-member, what are
Hold on. Go ahead, finish.
Since we're non-member, what are the engagements supposed to be?
Usually what happens is, even if you're ex-official members, everything that a subcommittee does is a recommendation to be brought forth before the board. It is a board voting action. So you don't have to be a voting member to be in the subcommittee and do work. Everything you do is going to come before the board.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is a government entity.
So basically, you're all valuable to the team.
That's right. In the research of this program.
All right.
So Albert, you don't get a free ride. I just want to tell Albert, was that Albert? You don't get a free ride.
Sorry, dude.
Okay, thank you, Governor. And then the last,
Sorry, Madam Chair, could the airport be part of the incentive program? I think that we worked well with with GEDA in marketing Guam as a destination. So airport would like to participate in that incentive program.
okay.
Incentive subcommittee.
There.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Madam Chair, if I may, just in respect to my former colleagues, I see former Senator Rodriguez and Senator Rory, their leadership and what they've done in the past terms can bring a lot of institutional knowledge as it relates to policy, and I'm hoping that they can be tapped to help chair a couple of these. Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe comments from both of them as
I also
policymakers.
know that there's no such thing as a free lunch, like the governor said. I was going to volunteer for the port to head the current state of the industry, and that will work with Joe Borja for the infrastructure committee because it also includes facilities.
Okay.
And then,
okay.
Yeah, I think the airport will participate with the senator in the state of industry as well as infrastructure, since we have to be able to connect the port to the airport through the roads.
Definitely.
Okay.
Women's Chamber.
Today, Vice Speaker and Madam Chair, thank you very much, Governor. Thank you for the opportunity. The FCG, who I represent, we're more than happy to serve in any of the committees and provide any input that we could.
Okay.
Okay. Great.
Every single committee.
Everything. Okay. The last recommended committee would be an outreach.
Yeah, I think we've kind of put it under the financial, right?
Yeah, under the financial.
Okay. We're good. Great. So now that you're all part of a committee and subcommittees, appreciate your volunteerism. So next on the agenda is the election of the Transshipment Taskforce presiding officer. Senator Rory, you?
Madam Chair, if I could be recognized, it's really nice to see Senator Dennis, this very high-powered, high-energy group, which certainly he's among and will be formidable. I see many people that have been selected by either position or by person, and I want to join the governor in recognizing Vice Speaker Barnes for her work to put this task force together. First Lady, Madam Chair, we attended the public hearing, so with the governor's support, the Port Authority, GEDA, and the airport stood 100% behind Senator Barnes's initiative. And there was some comments in the legislature, why do something that can already be done without having to go through statute? And I'm grateful the governor recognized that the statute provides for many different facets of this transshipment industry. And what Senator Barnes is trying to do is to put everything together so there could be one go-to for anyone wanting to do business on Guam, whether it's through the airport, the port, whether it's through incentives that GEDA is offering, GVB. And I think that because this is going to require a big push from both the public and private sector, I really want to ask that Governor Guerrero chair this very significant and important transshipment task force. We've seen her leadership throughout this pandemic. This is everything that Senator Barnes has memorialized in our legislation, is things that the Hagåtña administration put in paper during the transition period. Even before that, it's all in the platform. And in the last 2.5 years, we've seen the Hagåtña administration move in this direction. The port is certainly moving in this direction through her directives. We see it with the airport and all other agencies that are front and center. So I would like the governor to be front and center in this effort. And I would respectfully ask that if of all the many things that she already has to do, if she would be willing to chair this very important task force and understand that it's part and parcel to everything that her administration is wanting to do anyway. So I ask that the governor consider being the chair, and I nominate her, and I ask for unanimous consent from everyone. Please,
Governor, did
Governor.
that? Governor.
Thank you, Rory. Yes, I think, that as Rory has said, this is a very, significant, important, and will always be involved with this. And I do accept, and I also want to make sure that my designee, Ed Camacho, is right next to me to be able to take over as sometimes that I won't be at the meetings, but he will be very close working with me. So thank you, Rory, for that vote of confidence. And I have a lot of time, so no problem.
Thank you, Governor. Okay, Governor, you are now the presiding officer.
Thank you.
No. We'll continue open for discussion now. The next.
Vice Chair.
Oh, I don't know. Does it say? Is there vice chair?
Pardon?
Is there vice chair?
No.
Madam,
Yeah.
we need a vice chair.
Well,
Again, I don't think the law calls for vice chair. I think it just calls for a presiding officer.
Presiding officer.
Yeah. Okay. We got the best one, so we're good. We're in good hands. Okay, the next item on the agenda is really open for discussion. Do any of the members, task force members, or individuals have any comments or suggestions?
Since it's a monthly meeting, something to the call, can we maybe get a definite date, or Thursday or something like that, so everybody can plan their schedule in advance rather than getting weeks notice?
Well, that's what the governor's out of the chair.
I think we should just designate a day of the month to make it more consistent, and you're absolutely right, so we can be planning. And what is today? Thursday. It seems like this is a good day. Thursday. Why don't we say the first Thursday of every month? And the next one would be on July 1st. So let's the first Thursday of every month. Today is, it'll be next week. See you again next week.
Okay, that's fair enough. So what we'll do
next week, we'll and let's try to keep it at 1 hour. And I think next week we could get reports from the subcommittee chairs making up their committee members. And then talk about what each of those committees would be doing.
Governor, Madam Chair, before you adjourn, can I ask consideration if we could just memorialize maybe Vice Speaker Tina Barnes being the vice chair, even though it doesn't really call for it, but we know that the work product of this committee will continue in the legislature. So if there could be consideration that Senator Barnes be the vice chair.
Sure. I mean, it doesn't call for a vice chair, but certainly we need to have somebody take over if I'm not able to be there or Ed's not able to be there. So I have no problems making a note that should the governor or her designee not able to chair the committees of the Transshipment Industry Task Force, that we would then acknowledge Vice Chair Tina Muña Barnes.
Thank you, ma'am, and I'd like to offer that in the form of a motion.
Sure.
Okay, is there a second to the motion?
Yes, there's a motion on the floor. Anyone, any further discussion on that motion? No?
No discussion.
All right.
Seconded.
All those in favor say aye.
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 All right.
Anybody? Okay, Vice Speaker, you're
I accept. Thank you.
That's easy. Okay. So it looks like we'll see each other.
I didn't ask her if she wanted to accept. I just like told her she had to do it.
Yeah. Got it. Duly noted, Madam Governor.
We gotta move quickly on this.
Okay, well, Ed will send out post this meeting, all the subcommittees. If we missed anyone, please call it.
I'm checking.
Fred.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Fred.
Oh, no, I was just wondering, is there going to be a central repository for information to be disseminated? I know that we have our subcommittees, but is there going to be one committee or one agency that's going to be responsible for ensuring that we have the minutes of our general membership?
Yeah, the agency responsible is GEDA, since they are the Economic Development Authority, so everything should go through GEDA. With through Ed Camacho.
Yeah, we'll set it up.
Thank
and
you,
we'll
ma'am.
send out the information for the repository for all the data.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments? Recommendations?
Did you want to indicate the report you show everybody?
Oh, for the record.
The transshipment?
Yeah. Yeah, so everyone should have received a copy for that says transshipment on Guam. Thank the Madam Chair. We want to take the time to again acknowledge the students that the interns that took this and worked it. I said their names earlier, but from Emory University, Sissy Liu, Patrick Wang from St. Mary's, my Director of Policy and Communications, Manning, my Chief of Staff, and Dr. James G., who's the Public Policy Advisor for the PPI Institute, talks about the history and where we can go here, but more importantly, talks about a lot of the grant opportunities that are just being able to look at the successes of our brothers and sisters in the Blue Continent and what they've tapped into, and as far as federal grants, for putting very small amounts in, they've gotten back millions on the return. So that's something that this committee really needs to look at also. So for your purview, please, and just take the time to thank this team for putting this packet together again. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Governor, Madam Chair.
We also want to mention that the Guam Chamber of Commerce would also like to participate in some of the groups. Unfortunately, we didn't see, it was on the chat group somewhere. We did not see that. So we will reach out to the Guam Chamber to ensure that they are in the appropriate groups.
Yes.
Okay. Great. No further discussions. I have a motion to adjourn. Okay. Thank you. See you all next week.
Here. This is the meeting place.
This is the meeting place.
What time
Thank you. Thanks, Governor.
Okay. Thank you, Governor.
Thanks, Governor.
Thank you.
Thank you.